qualified that to say that he has no experience, to say that he has indicated that he is not going to succeed. I join the other members. Please, let's look at this case very objectively. I saw Abdi himself presenting and representing, defending the position of EACC. And I think from an institutional point of view, that is a person that we need to trust. Madam Speaker, I join to say this. Corruption has really messed up this country. Mr. Abdi knows the RUTO'S. I have looked at the document and I have seen that they asked him so many serious questions, particularly on areas that he has identified as the key loopholes for corruption in this country. Madam Speaker, I have noticed that he has come up with a very serious strategies on how to fight corruption. So, Madam Speaker, I'm asking these members, please, let's facilitate, fast track, and approve, because there's a lot of work that need to be done at the EACC. Secondly, Madam Speaker, there has always been conflict between the DPP and EACC. I believe, from what I've read from this report, that he is going to work out a structure, a relationship that is going to frustrate, that is not going to be conflicting every time. We saw sometimes back where the DCI and DPP, they were in conflict. We don't want people conflicting. What EACC is an independent organization. We trust in our EACC. We trust that they will fight corruption. There's somebody who was shouting and saying that we are giving this position to people from one legion. I totally disagree with that statement. Although it was not on record, somebody was shouting. So we are not going that direction. We want to give this Kenya the best people, and we believe Abdi has the ability to do that. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, member for Honorable Umi, nominated Harun, nominated member.
Thank you, Speaker, for the chance. I just want to thank the committee for the great work they've done in considering this particular candidate for the position of CEO EACC. And I have followed the work that he has done, having grown through the ranks from the first time he joined the institution up to now. This is just very encouraging for people who are even working in other agencies, coming from junior ranks to become the CEO and to head the agencies. So I just want to appreciate the experience he brings to the institution, considering he has institutional memory. And if approved, I want to encourage him to ensure that all pending cases are executed with professionalism and that he's able to give the needed support that the country needs. I want to congratulate the CEO, and I wish him all the best if this House approves. And we hope that many will benefit from his experience. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Odinga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, also to give me this opportunity to speak towards Abdi, who has been nominated and has been vetted by the Jailer Committee to take over the leadership of EACC. Madam Speaker, if I can remember, in the last parliament, I was in Jailer when you were vetting the outgoing CEO. He promised to do exemplary work, which I have seen he has done. There is a lot of money which has been recovered, assets recovered, and a lot of other things that he has done. And I want to thank the Jailer Committee. When they vetted Abdi, they have given a good report, and we are very sure, since Abdi was the assistant of the outgoing CEO, he has been working with him together, and I know he is going to do a good job. This is not an easy task. It will need dedication. It will need a lot of his time. It will consume a lot of his family time and his friends' time. He has to work well for this country, because corruption and other related cases are the ills that are disturbing us in this country. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to say JLAC did a good work. They vetted this incoming. If this House approves him, we are very sure that he's going to do a good exemplary job from where the outgoing left, and he's going to do more. We have seen cases whereby there has been a lot of differing between DPP and the EACC. Right now, we are hoping they are going to work as one team to ensure that process of corruption and any other ill monies gotten from corrupt means should be recovered, and most cases should be followed and be handled in a very good manner. Therefore, I want to see the way he's going to work. If you look at him, he is risen throughout the ranks. And this one shows that any other person will be happy working in an organization, knowing very well you can rise from a junior rank to the next level, up to even including holding the CEO's position. Therefore, we as Kenyans, we want, on behalf of the people who voted for me, I want to say that I'm supporting this nominee, and as he takes over, let him do an exemplary work for the Kenyans. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support this JLAC report, and I support it. Thank you.
Thank you. The Father of the House, Honorable Kainan.
By tradition, thank you, Madam Speaker. By tradition, you should have started with that. So you are breaking the tradition.
Out of order, Honorable Kainan.
Anyway, let me go to this. I was just reminding you that, Madam Speaker, the history of EACC and the evolution has been. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Of course, she's asking me to thank you. I say thank you, Madam Speaker. The history of EACC. Can I have peace from my neighbors here? These good people from.
Honorable members, keep the consultations to the minimum. Honorable Kainan.
Madam Speaker, the history and evolution of EACC has been turbulent, has been confusing, but luckily the current constitution, the framers of the current constitution have decided to put it in perspective. And courtesy of the same constitution, we have now a constitutional commission which is not at the direction of anybody. Only the constitution directs how that organization is going to be run. Madam Speaker, you're also aware that in the past, the leadership of this commission has also been dominated by people from the academia world, technocrats, and all of them who have not been insiders actually to the commission. Their performance, both summative and formative, Madam Speaker, is something that is well known to the people of Kenya. Madam Speaker, the current candidate meets, first of all the constitutional requirements from Chapter 10, Chapter 6, Article 77, Article 78, Article 118, Article 124, Article 232, Article 250, all the legal requirements. Two, the candidate has also all the educational requirements. In fact, if you look at the CV, the candidate is a practicing lawyer. The candidate has also a master's degree in security. The candidate has also a degree in public administration, meaning this is a go-getter. It's a person who has all the educational requirements. If you look at also this candidate has also been subjected to public vetting. He has also gone through all the necessary vetting requirements. He has also been vetted, cleared by all the critical investigative institutions. But Madam Speaker, what is consoling is this is the time when the commission and the appointing authority decided to reward professionalism, an insider, a person who has been part of the making of EACC. And I think that's what this institution lacked. And therefore, what it means is that there is respect for professionalism, both, in an organogram, in an organizational structure, there is a vertical structure of the organization and the horizontal structure. That's a human resource term. Madam Speaker, once this candidate who has joined the investigative agencies, from a police officer, a cadet, all the way to an insider in the ACC, until today he is the acting CEO of EACC. It's a remarkable journey, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank the appointed authority, the panel that interviewed, for picking a candidate who is an insider. And I hope that is going to translate into action. Madam Speaker, on the face of it, the Kenyan society has been complaining. And I think we need to appreciate as leaders the changing dynamics of the Kenyan face, Madam Speaker. Today, as part of our governance platform, the social media effect is real. Anybody who wants to take the Kenyan community for a ride, we are not living in the past. The Kenyan society has changed. We must be part of the changing realities. What are the changing realities? We have a highly well-informed society. And even we as the leadership, we must take this into account, because if we don't change, we'll be changed by force. What are these changes? Everything that we used to hide under the carpet is now before the public domain. And therefore, what is our task? What is our responsibility as the leadership? Is to make sure we also align our thinking. We also align our behavioral activities. We also align our mandate with the changing realities of the people of Kenya. And I hope and pray that all of you will approve Abdi, because he has the competence. He has been an insider. He meets the professional qualification. He has met every aspect of the legal requirement. What is remaining, Madam Speaker? Because this organization, having seen and having reflected on the socio-economic and political dynamics of the Kenyan society, we need a neutral organization that deals with corruption on its own platform, not at the instigation of politicians. And that is why I'm happy, not at the instigation of any other person. That's why I'm happy today that there are categories of leadership that I describe as test tube leaders. Test tube leaders is one who is manufactured in the boardroom. But this is a self-made technocrat. And therefore it means objectively, realistically, constitutionally, statutorily, when he sits on an issue, that issue will get the best consideration. What is the best consideration? Objectivity, professionalism, legal mind, and application of the law without fear, without favor, without any consideration, without any other bias. And that's why this House, I want to urge this House to wholeheartedly support this, so that Abdi takes this organization to the next level. What is the next level? A level where every Kenyan is subject to the direction of a constitutional requirement. A level where every Kenyan will get a fair, objective treatment as dictated by the Constitution. With this, Madam Speaker, I support the approval and I support the report of the committee, and thank the committee for doing a good job within a very short time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Rahim.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I join my colleagues in asking for the approval of Honorable or Mr. Abdi Ahmed Mahmood. Madam Speaker, a lot of other colleagues have said Mohammed. It's Mahmood. You know, they confuse Mahmood with Mohammed. But that notwithstanding, Mr. Mahmood is qualified and should be in that office by right, being the Deputy CEO, and now he is the CEO. But Madam Speaker, we need to give EACC more teeth. And I hope the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee can work out something that we can have an amendment to the laws that EACC can be even prosecuting. Because we have seen recently, Madam Speaker, where the DPP withdraws a case right at the end, where the EACC has taken a case, it's in court, and right at the end, DPP just withdraws when one witness is left to testify. And I think that is completely wrong. And many a time, the courts have refused to withdraw cases by DPP even when EACC is not comfortable. So, Madam Speaker, with this, Mr. Abdi, I hope he can pursue the way Mr. Twalib was, and he can get down to work so that we can get the corruption suspects behind bars, and the DPP should not just be doing withdrawing cases, should go to the legal conclusion so that we can get this country corruption free. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I join the others in asking for the approval.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to support this motion. And Madam Speaker, I want to thank also the Committee of Justice and Legal Affairs for a job well done, for a thorough job that they have done, because their report is very clear on what their mandate was, Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker. They have done a good job, because when I went through the report, Madam Speaker, they have looked at every aspect that is required to look into a nominee, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, there is a Somali gathering here, Madam Speaker. I don't know what they are talking about in their mother tongue. Madam Speaker.
Member for Wajir West, you look like the chair of the Kamukunji. Keep the consultations as low as possible.
Yeah. So, Madam Speaker, the issue here we are looking at is the suitability of the nominee. Is he suitable for this job? Is he the right person? Does he have the right qualification? Does he have the requisite papers to do the work? Madam Speaker, all those boxes were ticked by the Committee of Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Any other business here is sideshows, Madam Speaker. You don't get employment in Kenya because of the community you belong to. You get job on merit. You get a job because you are qualified. You get a job because you can do it, Madam Speaker. You get a job because you are the right person to do that job, Madam Speaker. There were applicants that applied for this job. There were many. It was not only one person. There was a short list. There was a process that was followed. And the process, the job application was open to all Kenyans, Madam Speaker. And many Kenyans applied. And in their own wisdom, the recruiting people decided to shortlist and came up with his name and sent it to the president, and the president sent it to parliament for vetting. And what we are doing is the process of vetting, Madam Speaker. So the issue here we are looking at is the suitability of the person. And the person is suitable, Madam Speaker, because from the report of the committee, it is very clear that this is a veteran investigator, Madam Speaker. Is somebody who has spent all his life in doing this job of investigating people, in looking at corruption cases, criminal cases, and all kinds of things, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let us not derail. Let us not, dismiss merit just because of, ethnic, profiling and ethnic, sensationalization, Madam Speaker. We know in this country there are offices that have been occupied before by communities, people from the same community who are basically next to each other. Some of them from the same villages, Madam Speaker. And nobody complained. People said, if they are qualified, let them do the job. What we are interested in is the qualification of the person, not where he comes from majorly. Because, Madam Speaker, we can only have one CEO. If there were 8 CEOs, then we can say, give every region one person. But, Madam Speaker, this is just one office. It must be occupied by one person at certain time for a period of 6 years. And for those people who are opposed to him because he wants, or within the course of duty, he testified against you, that is the nature of the game. That is his work. There is nothing we can do. When we were dismissing the former deputy president, he testified, Madam Speaker. Why? Because he was the acting CEO of the Anti-Corruption Commission, and he had to do his job. And it is Parliament that requested him to come and give evidence, Madam Speaker. He didn't come on his own volition. So, Madam Speaker, I want to urge members that this, as per the report of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, not my report, even though I'm a member of the committee, not the report of any other member here, the report of the committee that was given the mandate to go and inquire into the suitability of that candidate came back to this House with unanimously that this is the right person, he's qualified. Because I don't want to create here a trend where you're going to profile people and deny them jobs, because I'm worried for my child. After I leave office, my child might be brought here looking for a job, and you say, oh, this is another Junet's son, he's from this community, that community. Myself, I don't represent my community. And I'm not interested in representing my community. And I will never do it. I am doing my 3rd term. I have never been elected by my community. They will never elect me. I don't want them to elect me unless I'm running for president. When I want to run for president, they must elect me. That is a responsibility they must do. But when I want a member of parliament, I want to be a governor, I want to be a senator, I don't want their vote. I have other voters who are Christians, who are non-Somalis, who are Kenyans, who know what democracy is, who know what Kenya is, who know what cohesion is, who know what people living together is, Mr. Speaker. Not like my community and central, who people fighting leader. Over small things, over constituencies and municipalities, Mr. Speaker.
What is out of order?
Madam Speaker, is it in order for the Honorable Junet And I do know, me and him, originally, we come from Mandera. Originally. That's our birthplace. The person who has the first right over you is the person who has mentored you, the person who has taken you through the process until you become something that anybody will be very proud of. So Mzee Sheikh Noh and my good aunt and everybody else who mentored Junaid at his tender age, proudly, let me finish. Proudly,
Honorable Kainan, order.
Until the point of order is this.
Order, Honorable Kainan.
Can I finish?
Order.
Can I finish?
Order, Honorable Kainan.
I'm coming to something.
I think you have already spoken to this motion. Honorable Junaid has described his voters. I don't think anything is out of order at all.
Can I finish?
At all.
Junaid, is he in order? And this is the point. He is elected by the good people of Migori, that we appreciate. But he's also a product of a very good community called the Somali community.
Honorable Adan, Honorable Kainan. Out of order.
Is he in order to say that he's not their vote when they have been part and parcel of the making of the good Junaid?
Out of order. You're out of order, Honorable Kainan. You have already, I think Honorable Junaid was very clear. He has not denied his heritage. Yeah. He has only described his voters, which is totally acceptable. What is out of order, Honorable? What would be out of order, Honorable?
No, I am still on Honorable Junaid, Honorable Speaker, because Honorable Junaid has stated that he does not need votes from his people. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Junaid has been voted by all the communities that live in Migori, including the Somali community. So which people was it? I wanted him to clarify, Honorable Speaker, that which particular people was he calling his people and not his people? Who are not his people? Who are not his people?
Honorable Junaid, you have had the 2 points of order.
Madam Speaker, let me respond to both of them. Madam Speaker, first.
Do you want to be informed by Honorable Member for Buri? Honorable Rindikiri. Give him the microphone.
What Honorable Junaid is saying, he is not going to seek for elective position in Mandela, where he came from. If I got it right, and I'm sure that was he was implying. You will not go to Mandela, you will not go to where you belong to. Honorable Kainan should not fear anything. Junaid is not going back to Mandela. Thank you, Mary.
I am not sure that information was for you, but I think he has helped you answer the question. So kindly continue.
I think the information was for Honorable Kainan. But Madam Speaker, you see, what Honorable Kainan is raising is what was raised when the Constitution was being passed. That does life begin at conception, when it is conceived, or when you are alive? So if he's talking about conceiving, that's a different matter. But when I am an old man like this, I belong to Migori. But more importantly, Madam Speaker, it is true I rely on votes of all communities that live in my constituency. But I don't rely the votes of the Somali community to be a member of parliament in my constituency. It is negligent. It is small. It's minute. They cannot even make me an MCA. So I know where my voters are. Yeah, my voters are the people of Migori, all of them. But Madam Speaker, having said that, now I've lost my thought process, but I was saying that the candidate we are also today vetting or approving in this House, Madam Speaker, is a candidate who has all the required qualifications. But having said that, I also want to speak to the candidate that he must do his job. Kenyans expect, whoever is given match, there's also a Kisi here conference, Madam Speaker. The Somali one was behind me, this Kisi now. Madam Speaker, the issue here is that he must do his job. Kenyans expect of him much. Whoever much is given, much is expected. One of the cancer that has eroded the gains of this country, Madam Speaker, is corruption. And he's the one now who's being mandated to do the fight against that vice. If he knows and his conscience is not clear that he's not able to do this job, let him decline taking up this job. But if his conscience is clear that I am capable, I can do it, I have done it before, I rose through the ranks in the institutions, from the assistant director to deputy CEO, and now the CEO, if you are approved by this House, and your conscience is clear that you can do this job, then take up the job, if this House approves you, which I am asking and requesting members because of the report we have been given by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and the man has ticked all the boxes that were what was required of him, let us approve him, let him do the job. This is one institution that Kenyans are relying on to make their lives better, Madam Speaker. Because you know, it has been clear, it has been said before that a third of our budget, and even the current Minister for Finance said 2 billion shillings are lost every day through corruption. This is the man who can stop it. This is the man who can do the change that this country requires. This is the man who can make sure the resources of this country go to where it is needed, where you need to put your food where your mouth is, or your money where your mouth is. This is the man who can assure us doing that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this institution called EACC has gone through many phases. I remember one time, Senior Counsel PLL Lumumba just ran away. Or the House brought a bill that removed him as a CEO. Because of the confusion that was there. He didn't know even how to deal with these people. People kept on talking about big fish, middle fish, small fish, white fish, black fish. All the fishes, Kamongo, in the Lake Victoria where we come from. Madam Speaker, this man, whom we are giving this job, if we approve him, Madam Speaker, must bring at least 70% of corruption cases to conclusion, Madam Speaker. Many of corruption cases in court have been lost because of evidence, because of other issues, but I want to assure him that he will get the support of this House financially through budgetary support to make sure that this vice called corruption is eradicated in this country, Madam Speaker. In conclusion, he must work together with the office of the DPP, Madam Speaker. The DPP is also new in office. I think it's barely a year. He's doing his work. We can't, a lot of corruption cases have been withdrawn recently after the new regime came into place. But Madam Speaker, some of them were said to have been removed for lack of evidence. Some of them were said that the witnesses withdrew their papers or their witness. We don't know. But what we know is that corruption must be fought. And no other person is chairing now the commissioner than a bishop, a man of high integrity, a man that is respected in this country, Madam Speaker, a chairman who has, good career in the religious sector, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I urge this House, let us pass this gentleman, because he has worked in this institution for long. He's a good man. He will do his job. So, Madam Speaker, and we will hold him accountable in this House, Mr. Speaker, because EACC reports to this House as a commission, as Chapter 15 commission. They are held accountable by Parliament. So we will hold him accountable through JLAC, through the floor of this House, Madam Speaker. But for now, since he is the best among the people who have been brought forward, I urge the House to approve him, Madam Speaker. With those few remarks, I support.
Honorable Dorothy Kiara.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I too want to thank the chairperson, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, and the entire committee for job well done. Honorable Speaker, I wish to say this commission is the lifeline for us Kenyans. For us to be able, Honorable Speaker, to redeem the image of this country, corruption must be fought. For us to be able to assure the Kenyan community that things are working and make them have hope for a better future, corruption must be fought. Honorable Speaker, I know His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Honorable William Samoei Ruto, has pronounced himself on corruption, and he is very clear in his mind that there is zero tolerance to corruption. Honorable Chair, I must say on the outset, this is a commission that requires a very bold, committed, self-fresh, self-motivated individual, a person who is a daredevil, because the terrain of fighting corruption in Kenya is so complicated. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say this particular nominee